Hi, Rachel. Hi, Patrick. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. And what's for dinner? So, Rachel, your background is different.
Looks familiar, right? Although this isn't my office, but I'm in the kitchen back in Oregon for a couple of days for my son-in-law's graduation, and then
Mm,
back to Arizona, and then we'll pack up, and then we'll officially be back next weekend.
okay. Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
great.
But I
Okay, so
appreciate you invited me back with sunshine and
mm,
warmth. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Yes.
wonderful. Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to getting out there today in a little sunshine.
Hmm.
Another note, Patrick is here for the last time. He's moving
Oh,
on to, yeah, so this is
Yeah,
Patrick's last
sadly.
day. Patrick, where are you going headed out from here?
I am headed to Bend to do obstetrics and gynecology. So I'll be there
oh.
for a month. Should be
Oh,
really fun.
and
Yeah, a
yeah,
bit of a switch up.
Hmm.
yeah, that'll be great. This is a great time to be in Bend.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't
Great,
wait. Very sunny.
great
Hmm.
time of the year to be in Bend. Well, we might see each other because I'm in Bend frequently,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, let
yep,
me know if you're in town.
yeah, so many kids. Yeah, lots of kids over there. So, yeah. Yeah. So, okay, I didn't tell you that I was going to do this because it just occurred to me now. But Patrick, why don't you tell us maybe just one or two things that you're thinking a little differently about regarding lifestyle, as far as the pillars of lifestyle: sleep, nutrition, activity, stress management, those things. So I know I'm putting
Yeah.
you on the spot. Sorry, not sorry.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. I think, there's a lot that I'm taking away from this rotation, I'm sure. Too much to recount. I think given my interest in primary care, I think I'm going to probably place more value and more emphasis on talking to patients about their lifestyle when I meet with them. I want to get a really good idea of all of the metrics we talked about. I want to know what their diets are like, what their sleep is like, how their stress levels are affecting those things, and really emphasizing that as a crucial part of every patient visit. So I think that that's really important. So in terms of like big takeaways, that's huge. I've learned so many great, tools and quick things that I can do. I mean, primary care works really fast. And it's like, how can I get patients on board? I think some of the key one fun thing that I really learned, I love the carb to fiber ratio. I really love the 1 to 6, talking to patients about blood sugar, telling them, hey, this is a really cool trick that I can teach you in 2 seconds that you can look at any nutrition label and apply it to your life. I love tricks like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the carb to fiber ratio is a big one. I love
Mm-hmm.
smart goals. I think setting
Mm-hmm.
smart goals is great,
Mm-hmm.
and really emphasizing with patients. I think you and I talked about it a little bit a few weeks ago, but I think at the end of every visit, talking to someone saying, how can I help you in your health goals?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we talked about your blood pressure medication or your diabetes medicine or, your stress, but what are some goals you want to set so that when we meet again, we can regroup and talk about it and
Mm-hmm.
talk about strategies for achieving them. And I think that
Yeah.
would be a change I would love to incorporate in my practice one day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great because you're really inviting the patient to be an expert in their own health. And oh, uh,
Here.
and Rachel,
Can you guys hear
sorry.
me?
Yes, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
I
Yes.
lost sound.
Oh,
I know.
I'm sorry.
Carry on. I'll see what I can do on my end.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so inviting the patient to be just really involved and in their own care, being their own advocate and becoming their own expert in their health. So that's great. That's great. Thank you for that. Yeah, and we've been talking about sleep. And I was just reminded about this really, really great lecture that both Rachel and I listened to when we attended the American conference in
Mhm.
Texas this past November, and I was reminded about that ACT, the Matrix, Do you
Mhm.
remember the ACT matrix, Rachel?
I do a little bit. It's based on the acceptance and commitment therapies. But
Right.
yeah, remind us and give us a visual of that.
Yeah. So it's really taking away the morality. I sleep good, I sleep bad, and it's because sleep isn't the behavior, but there are behaviors that can help the sleep. I think was the big takeaway for me. And that so the behaviors that you have can move you to better sleep or move you away from sleep,
Mhm.
right? So taking a look at the behaviors, whether it's, whether you're having trouble falling asleep, whether you're waking up during the middle of the night, where in your sleep process, where's the breakdown?
Mhm.
And taking a look at the different behaviors that you happen to be doing, staying curious
Mhm.
and observational rather than repeating the story over and over again that I can't sleep, I just can't sleep, I have an insomnia. It's, when we repeat those stories to ourselves, we believe them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think ACT the therapeutic model really does focus on emotional and mental flexibility. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of language around being flexible in our thinking. So where you were just describing inflexibility, I don't sleep well, I can't sleep, I'm a bad sleeper. That's a very fixed mindset, and it's not flexible.
Right.
But when we ask the question, is this moving me away from my goal or moving me towards my goal? That's more open-minded thinking. And now we can think flexibly. What would be a step that would move me toward my goal?
Yeah.
What would be an idea, and what would be a couple of solutions? Maybe you're brainstorming some of those ideas.
Yeah.
And it really moves you out of the critical brain and the closed brain. And the more emotional flexibility we have, the more mental flexibility we have, the more able we are to hit our goals, because we're not doing this all or nothing, black and white, I'm on or I'm off. Now it's like this nice continuum.
Mm-hmm.
And we're continuing to build and be resilient along the way. A little step backwards, that's okay. You're right back on track.
Yeah. They talk about getting stuck, the matrix stuck loop, where you're lying in bed, you're staring at the clock, you're you're maybe canceling your plans because you didn't sleep well, so that those kinds of behaviors kind of move you away from your goal of sleeping, and then kind of be brainstorming ideas, like you said, that might move you toward better sleep habits, that we've talked about. Patrick, you brought up several ideas last time about really good sleep hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
And focusing more on behavior, and then even thoughts too. What's going outside would be behavior, and then the inside might be the thought about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I have to sleep, or my day's going to be so bad if I don't get sleep, or just staying in that frustration mode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of benefit to just knowing that. I remember there's a meditation I used to listen to a lot on Headspace, the app that was pretty popular for a while. And one of the things I really loved about it is at the end of the meditation, if you were still awake, which sometimes happened, after the 15 minutes or whatever, and you're sitting there, he used to end the meditation as saying, just know that the fact that you're sitting here now, relaxed, peaceful, and your nervous system's calming, that is just as beneficial as actually being asleep, just relaxing with your eyes closed and allowing your body to decompress. And I really held on to that, because there are times at night where it's frustrating when you can't get to sleep, but just knowing that just being in that state is beneficial and allowing yourself to just ease off.
What a great gift that is that you described, Patrick, because I can picture the gift of that language. You had new language now for what was going on. You were able to swap out. Your old language was, oh no, I'm not asleep yet. Oh crap, what's going to happen? what am I going to do next? Panic sets in, the brain sets in, and now you're spinning. You swap that out with, it's okay if I'm not asleep yet. I'm still in this wonderful, relaxed state. I'm resting. My body is in a restorative state. And I imagine that felt a lot better. First of all, it didn't throw you into the stress cycle. And I wonder if you likely went back to sleep much more easily because you were not freaking out that you weren't asleep.
Yeah. It's just all about reframing the state that you're in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reframing is such a good tool, a good mindset shift. Yeah. One of the things that they really, I kind of remember them pointing out, is that feeling tired or fatigue isn't necessarily the same thing as being sleepy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because we can be tired or fatigued for lots of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about that kind of that little phrase, wired and tired.
Yeah.
And wired and tired isn't a great place to be before you're trying to go to bed and fall asleep. So, thinking about what the behavior is that you can control, like in your example, Patrick, with the meditation, to just kind of be in the moment and aware of what am I, what are my five senses doing? What am I, what am I hearing? Hopefully we're seeing the back of our eyes. I don't know, what am I sensing? Just kind of being in the moment rather than running ahead to the next day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's often what keeps people up at night. Is that ruminating on like what just happened or what's inevitably going to happen when I get out of the bed the next morning.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's really important to remind yourself to be present. And I think a lot of really good sleep comes from the present of just being there with your body, with your sensations, with everything else, and just relaxing and knowing like, hey, that can wait for tomorrow. Like this is my recharge time.
Yeah. Yeah, because feeling sleepy isn't a behavior, but there are behaviors that contribute to feeling sleepy, right? Did I say that right? Feeling sleepy isn't a behavior that I can control, but I can control behaviors that will make me feel sleepy. And you went over them, like getting up at the same time, like, seeing the sun, like resetting my circadian rhythm, like moving my body throughout the day. Those are behaviors that, I have some control over, which will help me be sleepy at night. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think Patrick's used this word a couple times in past episodes, and you and I have talked about it before, Dr. Gilbert, but it's this idea of the sleep pressure. And I don't know if Matthew Walker from Why We Sleep, I don't know if he coined that or it's part of his research, but I like thinking about the pressure because it's the actions that I can control to increase a sleep pressure, a demand for sleep on my body. And, we have things that exhaust us mentally, but that doesn't necessarily exhaust you physically, right? That doesn't necessarily mean sleep. So we can be wired and tired because maybe emotionally we're exhausted. Maybe mentally we've used our brains really hard. But if we haven't also used our bodies pretty well, we don't have that sleep pressure. Because then what's happening is you're laying there and your brain is spinning, So kind of what are the things that we can do to put more pressure on our bodies throughout the day? I mean, build up our sleep need, really. I guess maybe that's a better way of saying pressure is a need for sleep. And if we don't use our bodies throughout the day, there's less and less need and demand for sleep. There's less urgency for sleep.
Yeah. So true. Yeah. And, Patrick, you're probably going to go into a different month for you, and your routine's going to change.
Yeah.
And, you're going to probably not. Yeah. So you're going to have to think about this, how how can I get that movement in during my day? That's going to help keep that sleep, that sleep pressure going.
Mhm.
Yeah. And unfortunately, with a rotation like OB-GYN, you typically have to do a few 24-hour
Mm-hmm.
overnight shifts and stuff because babies don't care that it's 2 a.m. So,
That's right.
but yeah, it'll be a good experience. And I think for me, I'm trying to look at it like I really value my sleep. I have for years. It's something I've always really prioritized. So I think that looking forward in the future, I think it's nice to have experiments like this where maybe I get a little dysregulated and to treat it as a opportunity to find strategies to maximize whatever sleep I am able to get.
Mm-hmm.
And note how maybe poor I might feel on certain days because there will be days where it doesn't go my way, and maybe it'll make me, when I come back to a more regular schedule, really value it more and really prioritize it even more. So yeah,
good. All right, well, I am I think part of the reason that this kind of was a big deal for me is because something I had a neck injury that was really impacting my sleep, and that thankfully is 95% gone. So I'm back to sleeping really well. So I've appreciated this kind of discussion about sleep. The other thing is that we had the Spring Forward deal, so I'm kind of getting readjusted to that different, the daylight shift. And so I'm really appreciative of, just this reminder of the things that I can do, which will help you sleep better. So, so thank you all for this. Well, let's talk about what's for dinner. Yeah, Rachel, you're on the move. So.
I am. And our pipe burst while we've been gone. So the water is, it's been a mess, but the water's off at the house. So I'm staying with a friend and she's cooking stir fry. And she sent me a text earlier and said, Rachel, we're making a big veggie stir fry, but do you want tofu for your protein? And I said, yes, please. And she said, what kind? So she said, I'm going to Trader Joe's. So she's going to get the extra firm, super firm, high protein tofu for me. So I'm excited because I love when people, you know how it is when people are cooking things that you're going to love, but then it's with their own flair. So what's the flavor of her stir fry? How is she going to make it? And it'll just be totally different than how I do it. So that's for dinner for me. How about you guys?
Yeah. Patrick, do you know?
Yeah, I have a close friend of my girlfriend and I's coming down. She actually is a wildlife fish biologist, and her family, they're all big fishermen up in Alaska. So she has some wild caught Alaskan salmon that she's bringing down, and we're going to be having salmon and wild rice. Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
Really good. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Feel very lucky to have that.
That'll be great. That's hard to come by. That's good.
Yeah.
It's hard to come by. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you say her career is in?
So my girlfriend's finishing her PhD in wildlife biology, but she's met all of these different wildlife biologists, and they all study different animals. Nice. And so this one of her close friends is studies fisheries and things like that. So she studies migration of salmon.
Oh, wow.
And so she does all that because of her family history with salmon fishing in Alaska when she was growing up. So became obsessed with that. And so she's up in Bellingham, Washington now. So she's visiting the same with us for a few days and brought a bunch of salmon as a thank you for letting her camp out with us.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
It'll be really cool.
I'm sure my husband's a wildlife artist, and I'm sure he would love to sit in a room with all of those wildlife biologists and about wings and feather patterns and all the animals, Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool. How long are you in Oregon for?
We're just here for this weekend. My husband didn't come with me. It's just me. Because he's at the art show. The art show this is the last week of the celebration of fine art in Scottsdale. So he's finishing up the art show. And when we joke about if he wasn't going to be a wildlife artist, he should have been a wildlife, like a biologist. He should have been a biologist. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
he's the biggest animal nerd you'll never know. But I'm sure he would fit right in with this group of people you're talking about. He would love to sit at a table with that family and learn from them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, I got way late for a second, but
That's right. What's for dinner for you?
yeah. So we are doing our community group tonight, and it's soups, and I'm making a soup, and it's a vegetable beef soup, and I'll use my grass finished beef and lots of veggies in there, and it's because I'm bringing one of the soups, and I'm going to bring, but I will save for myself the remains of the sourdough bread that Patrick baked
Nice.
and gave. Yeah.
Nice.
You should have seen this loaf of sourdough. It was like,
I got
are you sure
pictures.
you
I
didn't
got
stop at the
pictures.
bakery and bring this in? It was, yeah.
I made a couple
Beautiful.
loaves.
Oh,
Oh, they're beautiful. Look at that.
I'm trying to get better at the scoring. It's hard to do the like little patterns.
Little
and stuff. That
patterns.
could be really
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, because
Oh,
I always joke with my girlfriend. It's hard because you get one shot. You get it out there, and every stroke you make, you're like, oh, God forbid you make one miscalc. Yeah. So,
That's
yeah.
nerve-wracking.
Not only was it beautiful, it was absolutely delicious. So yeah. So I have to rein it in. I did put it in the freezer, make it more of a resistant starch, but
full of
ferment,
right? We've got full of ferments in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ferment, and you told me use a little bit more of the whole wheat.
The whole wheat flour. Yeah. It can tend to, some people don't like it because it can bring the ferment out a little more and make it a little sourer. But I honestly think that ratio is pretty good. It's a little less white flour and had good oven spring and still tasted good. So I think I might keep that ratio, to be honest.
That sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. All right. Well, Patrick, it's been great having you join us, and we wish you all the best on your journey.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to miss all the patience. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Okay. All right. We'll talk.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.